Hey, what's good? Reed Showalter is an antitrust attorney born and raised in the Chicagoland area. He's a former federal attorney with experience at the Federal Trade Commission, Department of Justice, and White House National Economic Council. Reed has spent his career fighting corporate power and lowering costs on housing, healthcare, and food for working families. He quit his job at the DOJ when the Trump administration took over, and now he's running for Illinois' 7th District. That's you, Chicago. This is my conversation with Reed Showalter. Before we get into it, remember to go to coconutjustice.com to get you some clothes that I think would look good on you. Let's go. Hey, everybody. You know, especially everybody out there in Chicago, you know how passionate I am about Chicago. So I wanted to introduce you to someone who's running for the Illinois 7th District seat for the House of Representatives. You guys, please welcome Reed Showalter.
Hey, everybody. So good to be here. And Carlos, thank you again and always for doing this work, platforming people who care about this. And excited to be a Chicagoan here, repping where you're from.
Well, Chicago produces a lot of mouthy people with strong opinions.
That's right. Yeah, I tell everybody who's not from around here, they named it the Windy City not for its weather, but it's for its
Shit talking
politicians and their
prowess.
personalities. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I love talking to people from back home. I'm out in California right now, but I'm a fool for anything Chicago. And so when you reached out to come on, I was excited because, I don't exactly know what 7th District is. What area is 7th District?
Yeah. Chicago, the 7th District is like Chicago, like core Chicago, what you think of when you think of Chicago. So it's the Loop, it's the Bean, it's the Sears Tower. It is like that central area. And
Is it Schaumburg?
it doesn't hit Schaumburg. No,
Hell no, it doesn't hit Schaumburg because Schaumburg is in Chicago, damn it.
Yeah, 100%. We hit like, it's the Loop and then like draw close to a rectangle. It's Illinois. It's a gerrymandered map, but like roughly North Avenue out to Westchester. And then roughly like Roosevelt-ish is the southern border, except we also have this sort of gerrymandered tentacle here that is Chinatown and Bridgeport and Canaryville, a bit of back of the yards, like a bit of Bronzeville and some of Englewood and West Englewood too, like sort of really carving up those neighborhoods. You get like a third of a neighborhood here and half of a neighborhood there. But Chicago, like the people who come to Chicago to see Chicago, they come to see the 7th District.
Yeah. So when someone does come to Chicago, where do you send them?
Yeah. I mean, you got to know your audience. So like, is someone a museum person, right? I've always loved the Chicago museum scene.
100%. I got to brag about it with the proper scientist too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Honestly, like I've been to a few of these around the country. I'm a huge nerd. But Museum of Science and Industry has always had a special place in my heart.
100%.
And I've gone to some other science museums around the country, and it's just like head and shoulders. You can't beat what Science and Industry has. You got a full submarine in there. You've got a tornado. You want to stand in a tornado? Find me somewhere you can do that.
They got if it's still there, they have those big shell might be the thing.
Yeah.
Way over there and another one over here, and you can whisper to each other.
Oh,
but you're like,
the Whisper Hall. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Like, Field Museum. We got Sue the T-Rex in the Field Museum.
That's right.
I grew up around here, so I've got the when I was a Boy Scout, actually when I was a Cub Scout, they had like a sleepover at the museum, and so I got to live the night at the museum fantasy and slept under the sort of uplit like.
Did all the displays come to life? And
yeah. I can't. Well, they make us sign an NDA, so I can't say.
That's awesome. Yeah, and then we have all of the not all, but a lot of the museums are right there, right next to the lake, so it's beautiful, even to just run around them.
Yes. Yeah, the Lakefront Path, all that, and this is, Science and Industry is out of there, but if you go to the Field Museum
Yeah.
or the Shed Aquarium or the Planetarium or the Art
Hmm.
Institute, all of that's in the 7th, and you can make a hell of a museum day out of that. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. And then from where all those museums are to where Science and Industry is down on, what is it, like 35th or something? It's
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
south side. So
yeah.
it's probably from those museums, it's probably only like 15, 20 minutes away
Not
driving.
even. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
if you're on the highway, even if you're, like, Lakeshore Drive down there, it's 10,
It's
15
pretty
minutes.
quick. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, go there. I am also I have my pick like, on the food side, I've got my pick in the beef wars. I grew up in Oak Park, and,
I love
Johnny's
Oak
Beef
Park.
out in
Yeah.
Elmwood Park is that is
Hell
my
yeah.
spot, my
I
ride or
got
die.
some people that will do violence if you speak if you
Yeah.
speak badly of Johnny's.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I might be one of them. Uh, like, other people have their spots. You got your other beef places, but
Sure.
there's nothing like a juicy Johnny's Beef,
And they got
double
those
dip.
crinkle cut fries.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Hell yeah, dude.
ice there, it's great.
Yep. I
So
went to Triton. I went to Triton for my first
oh,
degree.
yeah, you know it.
Yeah. Johnny's was right there. Johnny's
Yeah,
was on the way to Triton.
yeah, it is manna from heaven.
For
We are
real.
so lucky.
So you grew up in Oak Park?
I did, yeah, grew up in Oak Park, born and raised there, and went to grade school and high school there. Actually, I met my wife in high school too. We started dating there.
Oak
So
Park River Forest you went to?
yeah, I went to Fenwick. It's
Fenway.
funny.
Okay.
My parents were like really dead set on like you're gonna get a Catholic education, and then
Okay.
um, ironically enough, I graduated high school and they both declared themselves atheists. So
They just wanted you to get through
yeah,
school.
yeah,
They
yeah,
they they wanted a
yeah.
Catholic discount.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
I had to play Catholic for a year and a half of my life
Yeah,
to
yeah. I
get
had
the discounted rate. I
yeah,
was a mess. I had no idea how to be
yeah.
a
Try
good
12
Catholic.
years.
What's your stance on religion these days?
I am not an active member of any sort of religious faith.
Same.
I look. I'm sort of a um I'm like a reluctant. I would love to be religious. I would love.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like many of the sort of spiritual truths that all of us have to reckon with, like how to live a good life and what happens when you die, and um, is there something else out there that just having that settled by a religion would be such a weight off. But I haven't found anything that has ever clicked for me in a way that feels true in a way I can believe.
Exactly. I'm like that. I grew up incredibly religious. Like
Hmm.
uh and when you start to talk to other people, even other religious people,
Hmm.
you have to think to yourself, wait a minute. Nobody has this figured out.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. It's
I don't let human made things interfere with and I have a interesting view of God and stuff like that, but I don't let humans interfere with what I think God wants me to be.
yeah. This is sort of my tact on this is like I I think I've got enough humility to know that I don't know what
Exactly.
the sort of true final spiritual frontier is.
Yeah.
I'm open to any and all evidence for it. I'm very much like a searching agnostic here, but I just
Same.
don't. Um, I think it.
And I don't let it stop my entire life.
Yeah, well, and it doesn't change what I think the job is for the vanishingly short time we have here, which is like we are
Yeah.
here to do good for other people to make sure that the world is a better place than it was when we touched feet down. And whatever shape there is in our spirituality, like that's still the truth of this, and that's the thing that you got to wake up doing, and you got to go to sleep trying to do better the next day.
Mhm. Not to mention, I know way better agnostic and atheist people. That that's an extreme thing. Let me say it like this. I know a lot of people who have been turned away from
Mm,
faith by people who believe.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, I see that. I mean, I know it. I spent 12 years in Catholic education, and
mm-hmm,
I've watched a lot of people walk away with real deep distaste for it, and
mm-hmm,
it's tough because look, I the thing that I still take away from this, I grew up in a tradition of faith, and the thing that is really like meaningful about that is the service part of that. You know, some of
mm-hmm.
the most meaningful
Exactly.
experiences I had when I was growing up were the things that through my church we were doing service, we were helping, you know, rebuild homes for people who were resettling from countries where they were refugees from. Like my service identity sort of built through my Catholic education was something that came together before I even really had a political identity. Like I didn't know what I was doing when I was working with the church and rebuilding homes for Palestinian refugees. You know, like that was just it's a Sunday service trip, but like
That's
that's
incredible. So you did that? You went to
yeah, well, so my dad is a contractor. And so there's a like I worked for his contracting business for a time, and um he always he was always really like a meaningful force there, saying like if you've got these skills you should use them to make people's lives better. And so our church did a bunch of stuff. My church, St. Giles, did a bunch of stuff that was like migrant ministries or resettlement work, and there'd be people who were coming over because they were displaced from their home, and they were like they'd never lived anywhere except wherever it was, whether
mm-hmm,
it's Palestine or um, pick a South American country that had been disrupted by something, and they came to Chicago looking for like a second chance, and the church was doing work saying, yeah, well, we have a way to make a house that was like a condemned house. We've got a bunch of guys who have this type of skill set, and they'll spend several weeks just rebuilding that house for you. And that kind of work was like, I was a kid. I was like
yeah.
14 years old when I first did it. 15 years old when I was first doing it. And just sitting there like installing a new ceiling fan before you really have a cogent political ideology, but
Sure.
that is the foundation of it, and I think it's meaningful. It's just it's painful to watch um, that stuff, which I think is the really important and redeeming part of most religious traditions. I think most major religious traditions have that element of service there, and um, that's the whole ball game to me.
Yeah.
The more we were doing that, the better we are.
And just being there and letting the influence of helping people
Mhm.
is game changing.
Yeah, yeah,
Is game changing.
yeah, yeah.
And being able to build up the community and not even, because I know when you say, "Oh, we got to focus on the community," people start getting nervous. Oh, there's communist. No, bitch. The more people that are doing well, your economy is going to be doing better.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the thing that I don't know, even if you're a multi-billionaire, you want to live in a world with like roads and bridges and culture and arts and
And people that you don't have to worry are going to steal your TV.
yeah, yeah, like like who do you think puts on the plays? Who do you think like makes the TV show?
Exactly.
Like this is all the community. Um
Yeah.
who do you think
And
maintains the
if the
park?
term starving artist doesn't disturb you,
Yeah,
we don't need you anywhere near the controls of the country.
exactly. Yeah. I've never understood this sort of um there's like a mania that develops for the billionaire class where like they get a level of wealth and they're like I can it's the Elon Musk of it all, of like I can go to Mars and I'll live my fantasy life there. And it's like, all right, cool, but all of the things that make Earth worth living on is what the community builds.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you wanna go to Mars and talk to nobody and there's no parks or trees or culture or anything to participate in, like, what is it all for? What's all the wealth for?
Yeah. Instead of thinking of community like a bad term, think of it as a team. because I'm sorry, with Elon up on stage with the flamethrower,
Yeah.
he's not building those rockets by himself.
Yeah.
He's not doing the physics by himself.
Yes. Yeah. There's a team, there's a community of really talented people who are
Yes.
putting those rockets together.
Yes, tell him.
Yeah.
And it's not Elon. Elon shows up and most of the decisions have been made.
Right. That's right. And even if you're making decisions, it's like, fine. Okay, cool. You made the decisions, but who executed it?
Right.
The
Right.
community. All of us.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is the foundational myth of like, I don't know, there's a part of the sort of retelling of um Americanism that is like it's just about rugged individualism.
Yeah.
And all of this, even the most rugged individuals of like the pioneer westward explorers, um, it's all about building communities. There's never been a part of American history where we haven't succeeded by lifting up our neighbors. You know,
Yeah.
you find
Yeah.
you find yourself in the middle of the plains of Nebraska where nothing's there before. It's still you're with a family, and ideally you got someone to trade with, and you got people around
Mm-hmm.
you who are creating an infrastructure where, like, yeah, you've got your log cabin, but now there's somebody who you can go into town to, or you can
Mm-hmm.
trade back with and get some of the basics that like make your life better.
Yeah. And even if you are a army geek or a military dork, whatever you want to call it,
Mhm.
imagine being a soldier and you're up against an army.
Mhm.
So what are you going to do? You're going to go back and get more soldiers, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're not just going to pick anybody up. You're going to get them and you're going to train them, right?
Right. Right.
And then you're going to go and see about this mess that someone is making.
Right. Right.
I don't understand why people don't get it. If you just take that very simple approach to the country,
Mhm.
the world
Right.
is going to be a better place.
Yeah, and it's not just
It's
the people that
science.
this is the thing that like it's bigger than just that too. Even if you're extending that army analogy. If you're an army guy, you want your team, but also who made your weapon? Who made your clothes?
I
Who made the
mean,
vehicle that you're rolling up in? Who are
yeah.
you communicating back with?
Who made
All of
your
the things that you're
rounds?
there are
Like,
there's a whole infrastructure of people who made it possible for you to be there in the first place, and
yeah.
it's the same thing, like this story of like economic success of, you're a billionaire, you're a self-made billionaire in America. It's like, are you really? Because you drove on the roads that all of us made and the internet
Mm-hmm.
that people made and
Mm-hmm.
used the pharmaceutical breakthroughs that were funded by tax dollars and the education system that made all that possible and the workforce that is protected and nurtured by this community.
And
All of that is
the baker that made the bread for the
the baker
sandwich
that
that
made the
you ate
bread.
for lunch, and
Yeah.
the ham that was harvested that you didn't have to do.
Exactly that. Yeah. The fact that we have bread in a store is a fucking miracle.
You
You
know what
know,
I'm saying?
Yeah, have you ever thought about, like, if you had to make bread
I
from scratch,
have. I have. It's a pain
have
in
you
the ass and it
have
takes a long time.
well, and not just that, I'm saying, like, you got nothing, you gotta grow wheat. Now, like, mill your
I
wheat,
mean,
right? Turn that into flour. It's
you have to
3
get
years.
salt from somewhere.
Yeah, go harvest salt. Like, that's crazy. That's what a community makes.
Man, I've never had so much fun breaking down some people's stupidity.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is, like it is why I think, our our politics keeps delivering such, disappointing outcomes, and it's because it's like so much of it is built on this myth of, like, the one-man show who's gonna come in and
Yeah.
fix everything. Just it's
We
never
we've
been how
been
anything works.
we've been hung up on westerns. This country
Mhm.
has been hung up on westerns forever.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they've gotten watered down a little bit. In the 70s,
yeah,
it was western after western after western. You're
yeah.
like, "Bro."
Yeah, my grandpa used to just sit and, like, rot in a chair. It's like, "We're going back to back 7 westerns, he's not moving."
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just like you guys have to understand it's no westerns anymore. We're at like I want to say it, Star Trek. We're at Star
Ye
Trek. We're not
Right.
at westerns anymore. We're at Star Trek. We have robots doing things. We have AI doing things.
Yeah.
We are far from Westerns.
Yes. I mean, like, I did a road trip, back when I was younger, like, after college,
Mhm,
and I talked to some people who were in their late 80s who were like, "Yeah, we were one of the first people who settled this sorta small town in" I think it was, like, rural Arizona,
mhm.
um, and they were talking about how when they first showed up there's no electricity, they didn't have a fridge, they didn't have running
Damn.
water, you walk to the well, and I the number of, like, modern day s sort of people who are like, "I'm the rugged individualist, I'm even like the doomsday prepper,
Mhm.
I'm gonna do it all by myself," and you're like, "But I gotta have my fridge."
Yeah. Yeah. And then what they do is one of the first things they do is they go to the grocery store and buy all the canned goods.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, yeah.
You didn't can that shit. You don't even know how to can.
Yes. Yeah, I'm really tired of this, like, generalized politics of, "I'm gonna get mine, I'm gonna pull up the ladder, and then I'm gonna live out my fantasy of I did it all
Uh,
myself." This is
exactly.
I was saying this the other
Exactly.
day to somebody, the original phrase, "Pull yourself up by your bootstraps," is it's a physics joke, like,
Yeah.
you can't do it.
Physically impossible.
Like, if you pull yourself up by your bootstraps, the only thing you're gonna do is pull your heels over your head. You can't
Yeah.
actually get up that way.
Yeah.
You're gonna tumble over backwards. And the fact that it's, like, it's said unironically as though that's a thing you should do.
Yeah, that's what happens when you don't invest in education.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And so it is my pitch here. This is part of the reason I'm running for office is because I think, like, government is in a democracy, government is the highest expression of community.
Yeah.
It's where our power is, right?
Yeah.
And when people say get government out of the way, what they mean is get you out of the way so that they can,
Mhm.
they
So they
can
can
use
control
that.
the government.
Yeah, they can control it. But
Yeah.
government can and should be a force for communities making their lives better and investing in all of these things that we already take for granted. The things we take for granted are some of the most exciting steps forward in community investment in human history, right? Like,
Mhm.
we made an interstate highway system and a transatlantic railroad and the internet and electrified an entire continent and made a postal service and made a healthcare system and an education system that is free for
Mhm.
everybody until they graduate high school if they want it to be. And all of those are, like, if they weren't first, they were among the first.
Mhm.
And they're things that are now just sort of assumed into the backdrop, but, like, really tremendous things that as a community and as a government you can make.
Mhm.
Imagine, we haven't taken those types of big steps forward in the last 40, 50 years, right? When's the
That's
last
because
big program we've done?
right, and that's because we stopped looking to the US for our scientists and our teachers and stuff. We started going out everywhere else. We started outsourcing our knowledge to the point where it's actually I was talking to someone and they said that it's becoming a national security issue
Mhm.
that we're making other people smart. We're letting, what is it, 50,000 Chinese folks come and study. And again, I don't have a problem with educating other people.
Mhm.
Us first.
Well, and not even here's the thing that's crazy is America has for a really long time been the thing where we say, "All right, come here, and this is the melting pot, and we're gonna," like, the superpower of America is we bring people in and we say, like,
Everybody can
"You can be
become
part
an
of this."
American.
Exactly, you can be a part of the system,
Right.
and you can contribute to it. And this, like, wild and rampant xenophobia it is hurting America's superpower here because
Yeah.
part of the reason why, we like won World War II was on our science too, and we brought in a bunch of really great scientists from across Europe too, and they all
Mm-hmm.
became American citizens and American
Mm-hmm.
scientists, and they
Mm-hmm.
contributed to the things that not only made a bunch of weapons, but also made the science for nuclear power and radio transistors
Got us
and
to the
got us
moon,
to the
depending
moon
on
and our
who you
space
talk to.
program. Yeah, every part of that is the idea of we can build this community, but we need, if you just
Smart
have somebody
people.
Yeah, and a place for them to be, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
create a space. The idea that we're going to, for example, educate tens of thousands of Chinese scientists at the PhD level in the economy of the future and then say, "All right, get out." Like, what? What do you mean?
And as a member of the United States, if that doesn't drive you nuts, so you're
Yes.
gonna come in, we're gonna educate you, and then we're gonna kick you out. Why
Yes.
not just spend that money on
Yeah.
American citizens?
Yeah, educate people and let's build that research base. This is the other thing
Yeah.
on this, not just the talent, is how much of this is, like, given away for free to sort of corporate interests.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
amount of basic science and research that we are doing, like, taxpayer dollars are advancing, and then we get some breakthrough drug or some breakthrough treatment or some new material science or something, and then they just sort of give the tech away to a private company and say, "All right, you patent it and make as much money on it as you possibly can." And okay, cool. We just
Don't
like,
worry about paying taxes.
yeah, don't worry about paying taxes and like
And
the
charge them $30 a month for a membership. Hee.
yeah, or I mean $30. Like we're talking about like we're making cancer treatments and then these companies are turning around and charging $1 million a year for a cancer treatment on something that was funded by taxpayer research. Like, what are we doing?
And just so you know, ChatGPT was also tax-funded research,
Of course.
and they're charging you a monthly fee.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah, every part of
internet
this.
the internet was the government, microwaves was the government.
Yeah.
You know what else I like to remind people? You know what else? How easy it is for you to go and buy clothing, and you
Mhm.
see the S, M, L, XL, all that stuff, that's
Mhm.
government. That
Yeah.
was invented by the government.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you wanna know where your beef comes from? It's government. You wanna know if your milk's been pasteurized? Government. Like,
If those farms are struggling, you know
yes.
who helps them?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not Elon.
It's yeah, no, it's sure as heck not either. I saw the other day, the tax bill came out for Amazon for the last tax year. Um, I think they paid 1.5% in taxes on their profits. 1.5%. And their profits doubled. They made, I think, $90 billion in profit last year, and they paid 1.5% on it. Like,
Yeah.
talk to me how that makes sense. Talk to me how that system, a lot of that stuff is shipped, for example, by the U.S. Postal Service, and it's
Yeah.
you know,
And
and
then
it's
they
over
talk shit
wires that
about
we
the
pay.
USPS. Like,
Yes, yes, and like they've got some local distribution that they do for the places where it's profitable to do. But if you order a the widget on Amazon and you're somewhere rural where it's not profitable to deliver, they're going postal service. They're going on the things the government made,
yeah.
and that's how Amazon gets the reputation of something that's reliable that can ship. It's on our investments.
Yeah.
What in the world are we doing allowing a 1.5% tax rate on those profits? 1.5%.
And then we shake our fists at the people that don't have. So you gotta get up, you gotta go to work.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
He's paying 1.5%
Yeah.
tax.
Yeah.
I'm giving 1/3 of my check to this place.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, if you're lucky, like, if you're in a city, sometimes, like, that's you're talking, like,
Yeah,
35 to
sometimes it's
40%, you know?
yeah, yeah,
It's like,
that's
find me
crazy.
find me somebody who they're shaking fists of, like, "Oh, these young kids can't afford a house because 'cause they're buying avocado toast." Like, I bet you they'd afford a house if they had a 1.5% tax rate. What are we doing? And this is the thing, it's like, I don't think the solution is to say, "Let's drop our tax rates." I think what let's make sure that these giant companies are paying their fair share because that's the reason why everything's so expensive. It's
Yeah,
it's a one-way cost structure. All of
yeah,
us, every regular person is paying what I think is like roughly fair share. And sometimes we have to pay more because we are running out of money because the very wealthy aren't paying it.
right,
Uh,
right.
but like imagine how much more, like my healthcare costs, my insurance costs went up by almost 40% this year because of the expiration of the ACA tax credits. And even before that, like the fact that we don't have a single payer healthcare system, the US pays, I think it's around twice as much as our peer like our peer developed countries in the OECD pay
Mm-hmm.
for healthcare per
Mm-hmm.
person. And we get our healthcare outcomes are like middle of the pack, bottom middle of the pack.
Yeah.
That we're we are paying absolutely ballooning costs. Regular people have to pay ballooning costs. And it's all built on this idea of like because these very few, very powerful, very rich institutions don't want to shoulder any of that cost. If we taxed the Fortune 500 companies at the same level that just like you and I pay in taxes, I mean, one, we're already paying
We
for
would.
like imagine what we could do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Imagine.
nothing should be broken.
Yes.
No bridges, no
Right.
lights.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? No
Right.
schools.
Right.
And then you mix in, because from what I understand, there are some countries that we are funding that get health care and all those things. So you can't tell me that it doesn't work.
Yes. I mean, I look around at this. I hear I've heard some people push back on me like we could never afford single payer healthcare. I'm like, we're already paying for it, man. We're
Somewhere
paying
else.
we're paying for it twice over. Yeah. Not only we're paying for it somewhere else in other countries with whatever our aid is, but we're also, as an American, we're paying twice as much per person as like Germany pays for their single payer healthcare. And we get private health insurance that doesn't work as well.
Yeah.
Like if we did this through taxes instead of giving our money to United Health Group, we
Yeah.
would be paying half as much.
Yeah.
Why don't we just do that?
We've
Like
we've
find me a reason.
proven that it works. Again, we've
Yeah,
proven that it works. Why? You go to Israel, everyone has health
everyone has
care.
healthcare.
And all Israel has to do is threaten us, and they get all the health care, they get all the streets,
Yeah.
they get all the ballistics, they get all the things. And
Well,
then
and
they turn to us and they're like, "Hey, pull yourself up by the bootstraps."
yeah, and like this is a thing that um I've had this argument a number of times that money is fungible. Like the fact that there are tens of billions of dollars of military aid going to Israel means that they can continue to prosecute a genocide and not pay the full cost of that.
Mhm.
And then I hear people say, well, we can cut offensive weapons, but we have to keep supplying defensive weapons. It's like, okay. But then that means the Israeli military doesn't have to spend any of their money on defensive weapons, or much less of their money on defensive weapons, which makes it easy to divert the resources to offensive weaponry to do a genocide, which means that the standard of living that allows the Netanyahu government, which is like wildly unpopular for obvious reasons because of all of the war
That's
crimes, but
their
like
version of the Trump regime.
yeah, yeah, I mean, like, you talk to Israelis and they're not happy about it either, but there's a lot less discontent there because, for example, there's universal education and healthcare, which are paid for because they don't have to spend as much money on their military while they do this horrifying shit because we keep bankrolling it. And
Yeah.
so, I don't know, like if there's a country that's doing a genocide, the least we can do is make some hard choices,
Mhm.
you know?
Mhm.
If you want to keep doing a genocide, then you have to cut your social safety net. Like why are we saying there's free money every day of the week for you to keep doing genocide? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Mhm. And it's all because we got a bunch of dirty boys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know how much Israel spends on military compared to how much they spend on controlling our politicians? So basically APAC and whatever it is.
I don't
What's that
so
comparison? Do we know?
I don't know, and I'll say too, like the APAC side of it is a weird one because so much of it is also just it's American funded. Um, like this, a lot of this is just domestic donations from Americans
Okay.
who are like they've got a right wing view of the world and they think it's cool to do genocides.
Yeah.
I know that I think by dollar amount, APAC is the top 3 funded, like, electoral influence PAC. I mean, in our election alone, we found out beginning of last week that they're backing one candidate to the tune of almost
Yeah.
$3 million over the next 6 weeks in this election. So
Six
$3 million,
weeks.
it's $2.8 million over 6 weeks. The amount of I mean, they're backing up $500,000 a week in commercial like TV commercials.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
And it's not the only race that they're spending in, even in Illinois, much less across the country. I think this cycle we're looking at north of $100 million of spend. You know, like I
And that's let's clarify that.
yeah,
That's rich people sending their money back and forth
yeah,
to only focus on the things that they think is important.
yeah. That's right. And it's not just I mean, that's the thing too. This is not just APAC. This is the thing that happens
That's everybody.
right across the corporate PACs that are jumping into these races. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
same thing that happens with like the crypto lobby does this stuff too.
Yeah.
Like there's it's so frustrating to me because like the sort of great experiment or the promise of crypto was a thing that people are going to be able to do to get out from under like these big monetary institutions that tell you what to do. And you know who's controlling all of the crypto money? It's big hedge funds. All of the people who are getting rich on crypto are giant hedge funds and
Yeah.
like major
And
institutional
the US president.
yeah, and the president. And you know like they all, you know, they hire the president's son to be an advisor on their board so that they don't get regulated, right? Like
So crazy.
this the thing that makes me so frustrated about it is it comes in with this promise to people. Like this is the way to stick it to the elites and determine your own destiny. And what it does is it just turns people into like cultural defenders of the very elite institutions that are ripping them off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people say, "Don't touch my crypto. It's my only way to make sense of like my economic destiny. It's my only way to get ahead. It's my pathway to I'm gonna hodl to the
Mm-hmm.
moon." And it's like, no, man, you're holding the bag for BlackRock when they unload a bunch of crypto assets, and you're the one holding as they get out with the profits. And the fact that people are sort of propagandized into thinking that like that's them taking control of their financial destiny as
Yeah.
they're just getting their savings raked out by a major investment company is like it hurts my heart.
And then it gets complicated too, because what people aren't seeing is this group of bandits.
Mhm.
They have turned the United States into a get rich quick scheme, right? You can bet on literally anything anymore.
Mhm.
They do it in crypto so you don't get tracked and they don't get tracked. They don't care that they take your little money. They don't care about you. They don't care about your well-being. Well, if you didn't want your money taken, you shouldn't have gambled.
Right. Right.
But yet
Right. And then there's this
they
there's this
ignore the
game.
fact that there's an addiction thing to it.
Yeah.
And so they are taking advantage of you for their advantage.
Right. There were a whole bunch of I mean, there were a bunch of protections and laws that were supposed to stop this. This type of gambling, this type of extraction, this type of taking advantage by these giant companies for a reason. Like we knew for a long time, you know, this it's not new. Just because you can do it on the blockchain doesn't make it new. There have been scammers and like corrupt bookies forever. That's you know,
Mm-hmm. I'm
it's
still waiting
legal.
for that prince from wherever the hell to send me my money.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you wait. You got that. You got that email too?
Oh,
Yeah.
you were part of it? Oh,
But like, there's this thing that happens. There's like really insidious thing where like what you were saying they say you shouldn't have gambled, and so it sort of entices people in. They break down all the protections, all the consumer protections, all of the laws. Um, these betting apps come in and they find loopholes in the law so that suddenly in places where like states where gambling is illegal, they're like, well, but you can gamble on everything still
Mine.
because we found, yeah, we put it
Yeah.
online and so it's fine.
It's technically not.
Yeah. And there's a little conspiracy theory that I want to talk through on that. That's like
Ooh, I'm
in
excited.
plain sight.
I'm
Um,
excited.
but then what it leaves people with is like, unlike somewhere else where, you know, you get ripped off at the grocery store, it's like eggs are now $10 for a carton. People are
Mhm.
like rightfully pissed off about that.
Yeah.
And they go out and they complain to their reps and they complain in the streets and they say this is fucked up. When you lose money gambling, there's this like shame, right? You feel like, oh man, like I made a bad bet. I'm embarrassing.
Mhm.
Um,
I did this to
I did
myself.
this to myself. Yeah.
Mhm.
When what happened is like you are just as much a victim of price gouging and
Mhm.
of like extractive behavior that's supposed to be illegal, but it turns people away from like being activists on their own behalf because there's this overlay of shame where they just feel like they can't they can't like complain to government about it because it's like, oh well, you made a stupid bet, it's your fault. And now we're watching this is like I think it's the fastest growing part of the American economy right now is these types of like explosive betting avenues that
Mhm.
there's no coalition against them because the people who are losing they want to bury their head in shame rather than say like get together and all call out that we've been ripped off because we don't have the language for that anymore. You know, we have the
Right.
language for when ripped off by grocery stores or by, you know, by like the housing market, but we don't have it for when we're ripped off by people who are weaponizing hope and giving us what we think is like maybe this is a shot to the great wealth when they know it's not. They've rigged the game. They know the system is designed to take your money, but we feel bad for buying into the hope, you know. And I'll say to my like conspiracy theory in plain sight here. There's a reason all these betting apps are everywhere.
Tell me.
Like Polymarket and Kalshi and all of them. So they found out um, there's a part of the financial markets, the derivatives markets, that don't have any they don't have any conflicts of interest laws, and also they can't be regulated by the states. There's a very old set of laws that regulates derivatives markets because it's supposed to be the thing that like if you're a farmer, you like say I want to buy a future. This is what I think the future cost of wheat is going to be,
Mhm.
and long time institution. I used to work at a commodities exchange, or I did like investigations finding financial criminals there. Well, these
Dang.
betting markets they found out that if you buy if you buy like an org that's regulated as a derivatives trader,
Mhm.
you don't have to comply with state laws anymore because now you're technically federally regulated in the derivatives markets.
Oh, sweet
You're not
Jesus.
trading on the derivatives markets. You're not doing any of the stuff that like those things are designed to regulate.
Yeah.
You say you turn around and say, "Well, I own a derivatives market firm, and what I'm doing is a derivatives markets, which means you can't regulate me. It's what's called preempted. The federal law preempts your ability to regulate us. And so now, like gambling, they're doing gambling houses. They're making casinos online,
Yeah.
but they say the states can't ban that. The laws on the books that ban casinos or that put restrictions on what you can do and how much you can abuse people there don't apply anymore because they got big enough to buy a derivatives firm and say, well, now we're regulated only by the federal government, which, by the way, doesn't really say anything about this. And also, by the way, we've put Donald Trump Jr. on the board of our firm and also the nephew of the person who runs the Commodity and Futures Trading Commission. So nobody's going to regulate us anyway. And it's the easiest. Like they just bought a get out of jail free card with a fraction of the money that they took from people's winnings.
Cool.
Brutal.
And what's crazy is folks like us will be out here, will be saying, "Hey, be careful. There's this thing. They're trying to steal your money." And there are people that think that we are not, that we're not right. They
Yeah.
think that nope, that's the way that is supposed to be over there. Them ripping us off. That's
Yeah. Yeah. This is there's a quote that I'm going to butcher. It's the beautiful thing about America is that the rich and poor alike get to sleep under overpasses. Um, and it's a bunch of people who are like, no, this is freedom. It's their freedom to rip us off, and it's your fault for getting ripped off.
yeah,
And it's,
yeah.
sure, man.
It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
This
crazy.
is
Let's talk about big corporation and how they cheat.
yes. Oh, you found my favorite topic.
What's your stance on Citizens United?
Yeah. So, um, we obviously need to overturn it, and it's not just Citizens United. Like these cases were happening beforehand. I'll give you a bit of background here. I'm an attorney. Um, I I'm an antitrust attorney actually. So I've spent my entire adult life basically
Is that
going
what you
after.
went to school for? Is that what you went to college for?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I went to law school. I became an antitrust attorney from there.
Where'd you go
Um,
to law school?
Columbia Law School in
Cool.
yeah.
I'll
And
stop
so
interrupting you now.
no, yeah, go ahead. Uh, we got to get the facts out.
Yeah.
That's journalism, Carlos. Uh, um, yeah. So this is a wider story, right? Like it's not just the ability of corporations to spend money from super PACs.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, obviously, we see a lot of that. I told you earlier, this race alone, we've got $2.8 million of APAC money that just backed up here. There's a bunch of other super PACs that are backing up money. We found out that the crypto PAC Fairshake is spending into this race too, and that fundamentally breaks our democracy. It just does. I saw back when I was doing some research on this. I did research on how when markets get more concentrated, when you get more monopolies and giant corporations, unsurprisingly, they spend more money lobbying Congress.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things we found too is um, if the top like Fortune 500 companies all think that a law should be passed, there's a roughly 65% chance that that law gets passed.
Mm-hmm.
If the remaining 100% of the country thinks that a law should be passed, so it's a little less than a 30% chance that it gets passed. It didn't used to
Damn.
be that way. But we've watched as giant corporations have just like they've gobbled up all of the market, and people forget that it's not just gobbling up all of the market. It's that directly buys political power directly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Citizens United is like just one part of it. You know, the fact that they can spend in super PACs is a huge deal, but it's also through the layers of donations that they give. It's through the lobbying that they do to people when they're in Congress. It's buying, media campaigns and punishing people for stepping out of line and buying influence and even like paying the best lawyers to get out of accountability or to write in to try to change the rules as they're being written by the government in the first place. Like
Mm-hmm.
this that thing about all the betting apps having no no teeth regulating them, like that's a thing that they have spent millions of dollars to defend both in courts and with the federal government trying to like change the rules around that. No, there's no like coalition of all of us who is going to have that level of resources to bring to bear to try to change a bunch of state laws and also litigate it across the courts and also change it at the federal level.
I lied. I was going to interrupt you. We're supposed to have the coalition. The
Yes.
coalition is supposed to be called the U.S. government.
Yes. 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 And this is how things have become so broken. Is like the fact that when I was getting into this race, I said I don't take corporate PAC money or crypto money or APAC money or any of this sort of special interest money that buys influence. And I had a bunch of these conversations with like national orgs who said, okay, well, The only way that we're going to determine that you're viable, though, is if you raise several $100,000. And so we end up in this weird catch-22 where the only people who get to be viable, right, who get to be elected to Congress, are the ones who have pathways to raise $1 million. And who is that? There are rich people, people or people with the backing of rich people. And then every once in a while, you get one or two or three people who are like already wealthy, or already very popular or famous, or who break through and become popular and famous. Like you get your AOCs and your Bernies who become celebrities and can do this. Like they got a bunch of small dollar donations, but the amount of celebrity that it takes to mount the resources that can compare, like this is a race where there's going to be $6 million for whoever the top spending candidate is. The number of small dollar donors giving $5 you need to make that happen, like
Yeah.
you're talking.
And remember, while you're going house to house to get $5,
Right,
you have the people with money that are
right,
making content, whether it's on TV, radio, or
yes,
the internet, that's telling people that you're not worth the look at.
exactly, yes. They're all saying the only person who will be a fighter for education is this person who's got $7 million in the bank. And the people who are out there doing the work, doing the grassroots work, like that's the coalition building. That's the thing that I hear all the time. People, we want coalitions, we want members of Congress who are actually responsive to us. Great. We need to make a system that makes that possible. And so, yeah, like to answer your question here, long-winded answer. Citizens United is table stakes. We need to overturn Citizens United, but we need caps on election spending overall. We need matching funds for small dollar candidates so that if you get $5 from somebody, like that should mean more than making, a phone call to a bunch of your rich friends. Just because they're rich doesn't make them more valuable in the political process. And we need a larger democratic system that stops sort of selling out these interests to giant corporate power. Because once you get there, you're swamped in lobbyists because there's not enough, there's frankly not enough resources for staffers to review all their bills. And so they just they get a readout from a lobbyist and they make that decision. And all of this, like top to bottom, from the way Congress works, um, to the way the electoral system works, to the way our Supreme Court works, needs to be overhauled. And
Yeah.
I think it's when the Democrats take back power, if we don't have that number one on our agenda, then we're missing the boat. Like there's a lot
Mhm.
of things that we need to be fighting for.
Yeah.
We don't get to do any of that if we don't fix democracy. If we don't get money out of politics, if we don't ban these super PACs, if we don't stop the sort of political influence games over prosecution, like why in the world is Donald Trump not already in jail for committing a violent
Seriously.
insurrection?
Seriously.
We've got courts that are rotted out and a Supreme Court that has no interest in doing anything roughly approximating the
That
Constitution. And
just
so,
so happens to show up in these files.
yeah, well, surprise.
Right.
The
And I'm not even talking the dirty stuff. I'm talking
Right?
about these relationships that the rich people make with other rich people
Yeah, yeah,
so they can continue to be rich. And let me explain to you, there is a limit at which you should, if you were any kind of proper human, you would turn around and say, let me fix things for everybody else.
yes, yeah. I mean, um, I have this sort of running joke. A billionaire is as close as we come today to a modern day superhero. Like if you were walking down the street as a billionaire,
Mhm.
you have the ability to solve every bit of human suffering that you see as you walk down the street. You see
For
you see a
real.
You see a person who is homeless, you can set them up for life. You see somebody who needs medical treatment, you can pay for every medical bill that they and their family ever need. You see somebody who needs an education, you can pay for all of that. You could pay for everybody's grocery. You could end hunger in the city you live in. Like,
and make that money back tomorrow.
yes, right. With plenty to spare. And instead, they are like something breaks in your brain that says, actually, no, it's more important for me to see zeros on the screen than make people's lives better. Like, the thing that makes it possible for you to be a billionaire is the breaking of your humanity. And it's why I think, like, it is the reason why there is always more solidarity across political divides, across country divides, whatever it is. There's always more class solidarity amongst a billionaire class than there is anywhere else. And until we realize that the way that we are going to get through this is by making sure that resources are just better used and distributed and deployed by regular people for regular people, we're fighting the wrong fight.
If rich people were able to, the people with the ability to make change, and they only focus on their life and improving their life, and then you turn around and you look at, I'm gonna start sharing some of my stuff. You look at the Black and brown communities, and you see that there's no grocery stores. You
Right.
see that there's no bookstores. The high school that I went to, I forgot what I was doing, but I saw a video of some of the kids from a handful of years ago. They're talking about that they didn't have enough money for a librarian.
Yeah.
So they were cut access to books.
Yeah. My God. Yeah. Did you grow up in Chicago, Carlos?
Yeah. I grew up between I split time between Chicago and Rockford.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And I went to Roosevelt High School.
Yeah. Got it.
And the lack of resources is ridiculous. And then I was able to join the military. I went to school, and I we'll call it escaped. I escaped the hood. And then you get to a certain level in your career, and you start to notice that nobody looks like you. And then when you turn around and Bad Bunny's on the TV and everybody's shitting on Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny's the only brown kid on TV for a hot second.
Right. Right.
So every time, even if you do all the things and you do all the things and you get to a certain level, you're still not quite American. And then you expect us to tap back into this system that continues to take and break and no.
Right. Right.
No.
Yeah. I mean, we have it is the foundational sin of America as a country. Like we have we sort of angel and devil on the shoulder of America throughout its entire history. Is we started as a country built on racism and exclusion, and not just racism and exclusion. It was racism and exclusion
was leveraged.
Profit. It was extractive
profit with the leverage of racism and exclusion.
Right. Yeah, we are a country built like for all of our great opportunities. We have also been built on this sort of like neatly tied up package of racism and classism in one perfect little ball. And every time we take a step forward, there's this feeling in American politics of like, okay, now we've solved it. And it's like, no, this is
everyone can relax now. We got to figure it out.
We did the Civil Rights Act, guys. It's fine now.
We don't need that anymore. Black and brown communities are just fine.
Which I'll tell you is literally the reasoning in several of the Supreme Court decisions that like undo the Voting Rights Act. They're like, well, the Voting Rights Act solved racism, so we don't need it anymore. And like Look, this is the same reason, like, people probably need therapy for their whole life. America is founded on some horrifying and foundational trauma, and to America's credits, we've got this really beautiful operating part of the system that is we can amend the Constitution, and we have these foundational ideals of the uh, pursuit of happiness and the idea that all people are created equal, and like continuing to be able to make a country that more closely realizes that. But that's not a that's not a thing that you just do and then set aside. That is a forever task. And you saw this growing up in Chicago. Like, Chicago is the most redlined city in America. It has the most, like,
We have proper racial neighborhoods.
full-on racial neighborhoods. Yeah, like, foundational, like, when you talk about redlining, you were talking about Chicago. And so the decades of disinvestment and underinvestment, and when pockets of black and brown wealth pop up, they're plowed through
They're
to
stamped
create a
back
highway
down.
system, or
Hmm.
they are hollowed
Or in
out.
Tulsa, how they turned it into a lake. Like there's
Yeah.
houses
Yes.
underwater in
Yes.
Tulsa.
Yes. And that story is, I mean, it's impossible to tell the story of, like, how we take steps forward against corporate power, against the sort of rot of democracy, without talking about that. It's like this is really core to some of the things that I'm talking about when I run. Is um, I talk a lot about making housing and healthcare and food more affordable. The only way that that actually sticks, though, is with deep reinvestment in Black and brown communities. This is There's a reason why you drive through the West Side, there's, like,
Hmm.
2 grocery stores that people can go to,
The United Center.
and the United Center, yeah, and people otherwise, like, you want groceries? You're shopping at a corner store,
Yeah.
right?
Or you
And
do it on your way home from work, and now
exactly,
you're on the train with 4
yeah,
bags of groceries.
yeah, or, there used to be a bunch of great jobs in that area, like Brock's Candy, I don't like,
Oh,
used
yeah.
to be on the West Side, and bunch of really good jobs.
Yep.
That's not only gone,
Is
but nothing's
Ferrera
replaced
Pan
it.
still in Oak Park?
Yeah, it is not as they shuttered a lot of the capacity, but the factory's still there. I think they have a limited version. Ferrero Pan's still in Oak Park. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah,
I mean, I also, like, found
dude, lemon heads for life.
formative memories when they were making, yeah, they'd make the lemon heads in the summer and you could smell it on the breeze.
Yeah.
But, like,
Oh, boy.
I mean, when you think about how people are gonna get ahead, it's with jobs and resources in their community. There's we can do everything that we Obviously, we need to fight for a lot of these things. Like, we can and should be fighting, for example, to restore the cuts to SNAP and WIC and food assistance and Medicaid and all of that. Great. But if you've got a link card and you don't have a grocery store to spend it at, what are we doing here? Or if you've got a link card and all you have is a place where you can go in at a corner store and you're going to buy, a honey bun and a Mountain Dew, like, now you're more likely to be in the hospital in 10 years. And you're not eating healthy food, and the hospital that is in your part of town has been disinvested too, and they bought and sold it. A bunch of private equity guys came in and bought and sold it. Like, this is the story of West Suburban over in Austin. They buy and sell. They bought and sold it, I think, 5 times over the course of 15 years, and it's $71 million in debt, and the AC isn't working in the summer, and the heat doesn't work in the winter, and their elevators are broken, and, like, no surprise that the health outcomes are worse, because all of that has been just, like, all of the resources has just been siphoned out, and we aren't reinvesting in the, like, institutions that rebuild that opportunity. Like, this is not just a story of subsidies. It is an institution story. How are we building new hospitals and clinics and grocery stores and restaurants and food jobs and the types of things that allow people to, yes, like, get food and get healthcare, but also have a stable job that they can rely
Hmm.
on, that pays a living wage. That
Hmm.
kind of thing, I don't know, it frustrates me so much that Democrats talk about that, but then when it comes time to do an appropriation, no one's talking about, like, "All right, well, are we gonna do a hospital building?
Right.
Well,
And that's the part about the Democrats that really pisses me off. When I say Republicans know where we're going and it's, they're letting greed drive their vision, right? So do the Democrats. The Democrats know exactly who is going, right? So it's almost like a traditional mom and dad, right? Dad is
yeah.
like, we're going to go blah, blah, blah. Those are the Republicans. Mom knows that we're going to where dad says, but she's the one that like, oh, it's going to be fine.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
going to be fine.
Yes. I'm so tired of hearing I hear the Democratic leadership all the time talking about how it's a crisis.
Everyone in office right now is trash.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah. And they're all willing to send you a fundraising text saying, this is a crisis. This is the most important election of our lifetime.
And I'm like, aren't you the successful one? Why don't you send me $50? I'm hungry.
Yeah. And well, and outside of that, like everyone keeps saying it's a crisis, then act like it.
Right.
Why you keep saying it's a crisis?
Why are you doing nothing?
Is a sternly worded letter? What is that?
Thanks for talking for 26 hours, Jeffries. Thanks.
Yeah. Great.
I can do that.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
We're going to start right now.
That all of us can
We're
do.
about an hour in. Sorry, Reed, you might want to clear your calendar. We're going to be talking for the next 26 hours. Just so you know, we're going for the record.
We are going to set the filibuster record. And it's going to be exactly as impactful.
Yeah. And again, going back to where I come from, because, when decisions in government are made, the only thing that we get is nothing. All we get is more destruction.
Yeah.
Money never quite reaches us.
Yep.
But when you have political leaders saying, send me money, I'm going to make it better. Send me money, I'm going to make it better. And we don't see shit but libraries closing. I don't want to give you money.
Right.
I don't want to vote for you.
Right.
We need change. And now that social media is happening and I get to get my big ass mouth out here talking, now I get to say, all you guys that are you do nothing Democrats and you greedy Republicans, it's time to push. And if you don't like it, you can go back to your country, whether it's England or Wales or wherever it is that you come from.
Yeah, go find.
We got better things to do here.
The British Virgin Islands, where you're getting a tax break or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
yeah. This is
or Puerto Rico, since it's not America.
Oh my God, man. Yeah, the level of illiteracy is wild. All the people who are like, these people coming here, they don't know America. They're the ones who are like, Puerto Rico is not America.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're like, you're in America, speak Spanish. I'm like, you have never been to Miami.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even some neighborhoods in New York and even in Chicago.
Yeah, even Chicago.
Even in Chicago, go to Homo Park. It's a 50-50 split.
Yeah. Yeah. Go to Little Village.
Yeah.
Like, go to Pilsen.
Go to Ukrainian Village and see how many people.
Village, yeah.
Those folks don't speak English half the time.
Yeah. 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 This is the story behind a lot of the things that I'm really pushing for. Like, I'm not interested in this sort of this sort of like nibble around the edges version of what democratic politics are these days. When I talk about healthcare affordability, I'm like, sure, let's fuck it. We can do the ACA subsidies, but honestly, they're not helpful. They're just subsidies to private insurance companies. So great, we'll do a subsidy for this year, and then great, next year our rates are going to go up exactly as much as that subsidy was. Let's do Medicare for all, but that's not enough. That at this point, that's table stakes. We need to build new hospitals and clinics, and we should be manufacturing our own drugs. Like, why is it that Pfizer gets the monopoly over cancer drugs that cost $100,000 and we researched it in the first place?
And here's a different approach.
Yeah.
Instead of like the government thought that projects were going to be a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they go into the neighborhoods and they build this big monstrosity that looked like a prison and they called it Cabrini Green.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of taking all that money and teaching people in that neighborhood how to build and how to lay out electrical lines.
Right.
and how to do that. So then now you're like, if we're going to talk about pulling yourself up by the bootstraps, that's what it looks like. You go into a community and you teach them how to run a grocery store, how to build, how to fix, how to do things. So then now you're a little bit more prepared to do this bullshit that you know is fake.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is the thing on like housing specifically. If our only solution to housing is we're going to expand, like the two things I hear a lot of times are like, we're going to expand Section 8 and we're going to expand tax credits for big developers. And neither of those solve the like core of the problem, which is there's not enough houses that people can afford. People more and more are being pushed into renting in a country where like the primary version of building generational wealth is through your home
And owning
and
your own stuff.
own your own stuff. And we aren't building houses that people can afford. It's all luxury housing that's being sold to the wealthy.
Yeah.
All luxury housing. Everything is a glass
Yeah.
and steel fancy new $1 million condo or something. Where is the program that, like exactly what you're talking about? We actually used to do this as a federal government. We could do a jobs guarantee where we're saying we're building a bunch of homes and we're training people on how to be plumbers and electricians and masons and
Yes.
framers, and
Yes.
they're going to build those homes. And we could even make an incentive program in that, like on your 10th home, that's your house, and you own that house now. You've built 10 other homes, and we sold them at cost or whatever. And you built 10 houses. You get a house, and now you've got a
And
place
now
and
you get to
skills.
live, yeah, and you get to live in a community that's
Yes,
thriving
that's
because
thriving. And
everybody has learned how to work and do things.
right. And you are a plumber, which is a skill that you like. You built a bunch of houses. You built 4 million houses across the country. Like, you know what those houses need? Maintenance.
Mhm.
They're going to need a plumber still.
Mhm.
And all of that work
And
is the
your
type of
network,
thing that
now you're
revitalizes
buddied
it.
up with the electrician.
Right. Yeah. And you
The
can start a
roofer,
business together if you want. Like now you set up a like a contracting business, the 5 of you, because you've been doing this work. Like
yeah,
that kind of thing is so missing. Like that level of response, even though every day, that's what we were talking about earlier. Every day we hear from Democrats that this is a crisis and it's the most important election and we need to do big things to get us out of this spiral.
for real.
All right, great. Let's talk about some big things that'll get us out of the spiral.
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
why is it that we show up then and all we've got is, okay, well, and when I get in, I'm going to increase Section 8 support by 7%. That's it? I thought it was a crisis.
Right. And if you want to fix Section 8 housing,
Yeah.
again, educate people. You have to educate them so they can understand what it is to start their own business, so they have the skills to open up their own businesses.
Yeah, and look, social housing for me, like, it's an important safety net for people, but it's not the solution to housing.
The
It's
actual problem.
right, right. And what ends up happening a lot of the times is you sort of create this poverty trap too, where
Mhm.
you fell on hard times and you got social housing, and now if you get a job that makes a certain amount of money, you don't qualify for that housing anymore.
Mhm.
And so you say, well, I can't get a promotion because I won't qualify for my housing anymore. I can't, and like it creates this disincentive to to move up or to sort of like create additional opportunities there
Mhm.
because it can't follow you with. And what it should do, like you've got social housing for a period because you fell on hard times, like maybe you had a divorce that you didn't expect or whatever, or you got ill or like something, like something happened and you couldn't work for a year because you like fell off a ladder or broke your leg and now you're like, oh, shit, how do I get back on my feet? Cool. There needs to be places where people can afford housing during that time. And great, but like that needs to be a launch pad for people to get back on the ladder. And we don't have that middle part, right? We don't have the thing that allows you to go from I'm in I'm in Section 8 housing. How am I going to go from that to owning my own home? And
And
that's
and
really important.
and we need to address the issue that is I it the whole promotion thing that you're talking about, where someone doesn't wanna take a promotion because it's gonna ruin the money that they have, with their home. Are you nuts? You're not going to improve your career and your financial life because it's going to ruin your financial life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to me that means folks need a livable wage.
Yeah, right. 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 Yeah, this is
You
what I mean. We're so
you shouldn't strive to be Section 8 housing or to stay in Section 8 housing.
well, and we're so, like, hung up on this mythology of, um, like, the lazy welfare queen, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and, I talk to people all the time who are, like, working 2 jobs, and they're like, I'm working 2 jobs, but it's minimum wage." It's like, so I'm working 70-hour weeks, and it's not enough for me to buy a place in Chicago, because Chicago, by the way, our housing prices are going up 4 times faster than the national average now. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy what's happening here. Um, so much of that has been also, like, the Republican talking point of, we need to find as many ways as possible to limit these sort of community safety nets. Um, and look, sure, there are people that fraudulently use SNAP benefits or WIC benefits, but it's like less than 1%.
Listen, let's squash that right now.
Yeah.
There are way more rich people ripping you off than people
Yes.
on Snap ripping you off.
Yes.
Way more.
We talked about it. Amazon.com, the company, just paid 1.5% in taxes.
Yeah.
And we're worried about somebody getting a little bit more food on SNAP.
Right. Right.
Where are our priorities?
Right. In 2008, a whole bunch of rich people broke the world economy.
Yes.
And last time
And
I
no one went
checked,
to jail.
I called a couple people that I know that are a little financially strapped, and they're like, my SNAP benefits never did that to the world.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, like, I don't know. I see so much of this of, like, we need to like, kick people off these roles. Like, look, I'm fine with SNAP being available to anybody, right? Like,
Yeah.
the bigger problem is that people who qualify for it don't get nutritional assistance, and suddenly you got, like, a 7-year-old kid who's not eating lunch because there's not enough food in the house. Like, that's a kid that's gonna have a hard time learning. You know how it gets a lot easier to afford that? Taxing the wealthy,
Yeah.
because it just doesn't
Not
actually
bombing a country.
not bombing a country. Yeah, what is it, like, every Tomahawk missile we blow up in the sands of the Middle East is, like, $20 million?
Yeah. Or how about this? How about we limit the president to suing only one government organization? Only one. You only get to sue one.
I
You
think
don't get to sue all of them for $30 million or $6 billion, whatever the hell is happening.
Yes. So I was a DOJ attorney, and one of the things that is
Can I ask
really
you real quick before, like, how is the current DOJ? How's that hitting you?
horrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, like, all of the work that I dedicated the last years of my life to is being shredded in real time. And I mean, like, when the Trump administration um, came in, I resigned. Was just not. I can't work for this
Damn. Thank you.
institution.
Thank you
Yeah, I
for
just
having
yeah,
that stance
yeah, um,
and taking that chance.
yeah. It's just, there are some times when the values are more important than the paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that institution, like, that I have a ton of respect for it, and the people that are still there, and watching every day how much it is turned into a pay to play scheme.
Mm.
This is there's
Only if
so
you use crypto.
yeah, yes. I I have friends who are working on a case that literally, they were gonna sue a giant company that was trying to, like, roll up an industry, to buy up more control. And then one of the companies hired a Mar-a-Lago member, um, and me? It is. 1 sec. Yes. Um, one of the companies hired a Mar-a-Lago member, and then the case was dropped in like 3 weeks. And I just don't know how, um, I don't know how we restore a system of faith in our legal system when we've watched this happen. You know, the senior most staff at the Department of Justice has lunch at the White House like weekly, and they're talking about who to prosecute and what cases to drop and who's got the president's ear. They are. That never happened. That never happened when I was there. It's just like
it's so overt too. Like they're
yeah,
doing it in our face.
yeah. I don't know how people rebuild a trust in that institution.
We have to, number one, we have to flush government.
Yep. Yep.
The do-nothing Democrats, the greedy Republicans. We got to get people like you in there. We got to get people like Kevin Ryan in there.
Yeah.
People like, we got to get, that's the number one thing. I know for a fact that it doesn't matter what you guys do, like the government folks, it doesn't matter what you do, the black and brown community is not going to be on your team.
Mm.
Pay attention to what's happening right now. Pay attention to who's making all the noise, and pay attention to, you have a couple black folks, a couple black creators that are making noise, but for the most part, black folks are quiet. Pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty quiet. Why? Because this is a y'all thing. You guys broke it. You
Yeah.
guys fix it.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you look at the last several election cycles. If you look at the voting patterns of like black women, if the people that black women wanted to elect were elected instead, we'd be in a real different situation.
Yeah. And tell me who hasn't been fucked with more than a black woman.
Yeah.
I say fuck it. Give them a chance. Give it to them. Give them the keys. Let's see. Let's go. Because it can't get any worse.
Right.
I have people in my family that will not go outside because they are afraid to go outside.
Yeah. And frankly, they're not wrong. Chicago has watched Operation Midway Blitz just kidnapping people off the streets. I've been at Broadview nearly every week of this campaign.
Yeah.
And I think there's something there. Just like I'm a white guy. I'm an attorney. I can put myself on the line in a way that a lot of our community can't.
Mm-hmm.
And I have watched as people who are legal residents for many years, have been picked up and arrested and processed and shipped across the country. They've got papers, and they're in a holding cell in Arizona. And I watched a bunch of people who were there protesting that get pepperballed in the face and beat with clubs and every part of this the whole way through. Like Severio Villegas Gonzalez was murdered by ICE agents in Chicago last year. It's
and this
scary.
is what's crazy. This is what's crazy. I like to remind people, this ICE stuff, the team is new. The term is new.
Right.
But me growing up, I've been watching police beating up, killing, doing all the bad things to people. I'm not saying that sometimes maybe they did deserve it, but most of the time, they didn't deserve that.
Right. Right. Yeah.
I understand trying to like arrest people for doing whatever.
Sure.
But it's not your job to end their lifeline.
Yes. Yeah. This is it's why I call for the abolition and prosecution of ICE, but not just that.
Hell yeah.
Look, there's a whole bunch of systems around this that made this tinderbox in the first place,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
ICE and CBP agents, they're civil law enforcers. Like, they've got the same level of federal authority as a postal worker. Why the hell are those guys walking around with AR-15s? Don't let them hold guns.
Seriously.
They're allowed, and this is Congress's failure, they're allowed right now to make arrests based on skin color, accent, language spoken, eye color
Mm-hmm.
in, in America.
Mm-hmm. Hey, and let me tell you some of the effects of this that people don't realize.
Mm-hmm.
I was walking my dogs. I have these two cute little Havanese dogs.
Cute.
I'm walking and I see this guy. He's got the vest and he's out running. He's got the vest and he's got like some, I don't know, I don't remember if it was a pit bull or Rottweiler or whatever, but you know, one of the bully dogs. Right.
Yeah, yeah,
And he's running around and you know, trying to be out, and I'm looking at him like, is this one of these little ice punks that
yeah,
just like he's just training to go and beat someone up? You know what I mean? And
yeah.
not for anything, because I'm not a small guy. I wanted to go up to him and say, "Are you ice?" and then just challenge him to a brawl right there.
Mm-hmm.
The PTSD that some of these folks are creating for everyone, not just me, not just the black and brown community. They're killing white folks. That PTSD is going to exist for a while in this country.
Yeah, it is the reason why, like, I think abolishing ICE is the moderate position at this point. Can you ever
It's the
imagine?
least you can do.
That's what I'm saying. That is,
Yeah.
it is the bottom basement. Like, this is the table stakes. Because I can't imagine, like, whoever in their right mind would trust in ICE again.
Exactly. You mean to tell me we're asking you for books? You keep giving us cameras.
Yeah.
We're asking you for support so we can build our communities up. And
Yes.
every time you do, you sick ice on us.
Yeah.
Or you tear it down. Or the community in Philadelphia that they literally bombed.
Yes. There was a Black Hawk helicopter doing like a Saving Private Ryan style raid on a apartment building in downtown Chicago just last year.
Yeah.
I mean, can we like replace our lead pipes? Can
You
we?
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's remember, from what I understand, somewhere in Michigan, the water's still flammable.
Yeah. I mean, in Chicago, like, there's a whole bunch of communities in Chicago that we've had lead pipes for years, decades.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
What are we?
It costs money. It costs millions of dollars to have these militarized deployments that are killing people, that are, as you're saying, creating this generational PTSD that, you know, I was talking to like retired old white ladies yesterday, like in their 60s, who were saying, I got a FOID card because of ICE. I just got a gun. I'm like, what do you mean?
That, yeah. Yeah.
Stacey, you live in one of the western suburbs.
Yeah.
But like, the amount of fear that's coming from that is real. Like, it's a real fear, and it's grounded in the fact that we've just let whole parts of our government go rogue and do Nazi propaganda at the expense of our lives.
Listen, and you're not, for someone who might be watching this video that thinks you might be over exaggerating, he is not. Listen to speeches that Stephen Miller has made.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to find out just how morally bankrupt he is and everyone that he's hanging out with, just go look at those. He makes speeches and he's quoting word for word Nazi propaganda.
Yeah, I'll tell you that the most violent confrontations I saw when I was at Broadview
Mm-hmm.
with protesters
Mm-hmm.
were when Greg Bovino and some like group from Christie Nome Central came in with cameras because they were trying to make a video. and they would line up protesters in an area, and then they would charge at them and just beat the shit out of people. Just like they'd put them in a space and then like line them up like fish in a barrel and go in with clubs and mace and pepper balls and aim guns at people because they wanted to make a video. Those those confrontations never started from the protester side, and the only times I saw conflict were when the cameras were around and there was
Yeah.
a there was a
And they're
video.
making a show of it.
They were making a show so that they could put a clip on Fox News. So it's no exaggeration to say like they want the propaganda, and it's the thing that like that is the reason for the escalation. Probably 8 times out of 10.
How do we explain to people that like what can we call that? Violence porn,
Yeah, sure.
whatever
Yeah.
you want to call it. How do we get through to them that this is not the way?
Yeah. I So much of this is like a media ecosystem that
Mhm.
is it's outrage driven, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
I I was I worked for Congress for a bit as a staffer
Mhm.
on the Judiciary Committee. I did like oversight of big companies, and I was doing oversight of the big tech companies,
Yeah.
Google, Facebook, Apple, Amazon. We were doing this like year plus long investigation, and one of the most important things that we paid attention to during that was how much of like the elevation of online discourse, the partisanship, the collapse of local news, the collapse of reliable reporting is from this explosion of like unaccountable for-profit digital platform management of our information. It makes more money to have a bunch, as you were saying, to have a bunch of violence porn because people keep clicking, they watch more ads,
Mhm.
stay on the site, they scroll longer, and there's no accountability for the information providers. Um, it's why the top like 9 accounts out of 10 on Facebook are right-wing commentators. You know, they are the most famous. What's the like Candace Owens and Tommy Lauren and Ben
And
Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro, yeah.
Yeah. Um,
And that uh what's the other one? The one that gets upset um she she pissed me off so bad. Um Not Laura Ingraham, but the other one. She used to be on TV, but now she's got her own YouTube channel. She was telling the story about how
is it
Trump
Megyn
was
Kelly?
talking about, yeah, Megan Kelly
Yeah.
was talking about the story about when Trump was talking about putting boots in the ground on the ground in the place we just took over. Um
In Minneapolis?
no, South America,
Oh, in Venezuela.
Venezuela.
Yeah, yeah,
He was
yeah.
talking about putting boots on the ground out there, and she said, "Oh, but my kid is 14 years old, and my other kid is. I don't want them to go." And I was like, I signed the papers to join the military on my 17th birthday. So when I heard her say that, I said, "You are a ragged bitch."
Well, it's just like these are the consequences of all of the things that people have been building. You know, you stoke the fires
Yeah.
of violent extremism for years,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're surprised when the violent extremism is here.
Yeah. When
You've
it's going to catch up to you.
Right. We've made a media ecosystem that is designed to create outrage, is designed to squash truth, is
Yeah.
designed to kill the institutions of accountability. We have we have built a government that is basically an imperial president
Mm-hmm.
who has virtually no accountability. The only things that really have held presidents in place for the last long while are norms. And so if you have a president that doesn't care about the norms and a court that's willing to cave um, for every whim, then yeah, like this is the consequence. It's why I don't have patience for like I reserve the right to criticize the Democratic Party. I am a Democrat running as a Democrat, and I am so frustrated that people keep acting surprised as though we didn't know this was coming.
Right.
People keep acting like
But that's just it. It's been a frog in the boiling water, right?
yes.
Because they sprinkle in there. Number one, they get you with the, oh, that's them over there.
Mhm.
And then they sprinkle in some cops show, right?
Yeah.
And then they sprinkle in some video games. And then they sprinkle in some social media. And then they sprinkle in some more dumb shit. And then they sprinkle in NFL. Because
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
sports, but that's violent sports, right?
Yeah.
So
And
now
MMA.
everybody's all pumped up and right?
Yeah. Sure.
And then you're surprised when everybody is ready. They've been primed.
Yeah, I mean, not just the media ecosystem there, but, like, over and over again, you have politicians who keep saying, um, Democrats are evil and they eat babies, and there's a caravan of
Yeah,
immigrants that are coming to
yeah,
kill your entire family,
yeah.
and there's never accountability politically for that, and there's never
Correct.
accountability, um, like, there's no fine for people just lying.
That's another thing. What was it? The fairness doctrine?
Yeah, dead.
We need to, if anything, we need to bring some of that stuff
Yes.
back. Some of fair and
Yeah.
balanced, like proper fair and balanced.
Yes. Yeah. The fairness doctrine is dead and is a real institution that I think could help. There's also, I mean, there's a few stories here. There's a few threads here. Uh, Two, the major social media platforms, because of Section 230, have no liability for amplifying obvious misinformation. Which, like, if you're the New York Times and you publish a story that is false and you send it to all of your readers, like, you're liable for libel. Right? You're liable for false information, for misinformation. Facebook has a reach that's 100x what the New York Times reaches and
Yeah,
has no liability for anything that their algorithms pump out to millions and millions of people every day, even when it says everyone needs to drink raw milk and it's good actually that
yeah,
Donald Trump invaded Venezuela.
yeah.
Um,
And it's okay to go in the stream with messed up water and go
yeah,
swimming in there with your kids.
yeah, and things saying like, the spread of QAnon that resulted in shootings. Like, they
Yeah,
came in and like shot up Comet Pizza in DC, and there's a bunch of hate crimes that keep spiraling out of conspiracy theories from stuff that's being amplified on these platforms. That's a choice. Like, we don't need to immunize those platforms from liability for that. And if they were liable for it, you'd bet they'd be a whole lot more careful.
100%.
You wouldn't see a bunch of amplification of fake AI videos or violence porn or, people like amping up conspiracy theories that are false and that are harmful, because there'd be some teeth there.
Do you think someone sharing a video of a former president as a gorilla, do you think that is freedom of speech?
Look, I think there's two things that keep getting conflated here. Freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom from consequences.
Mm-hmm.
Y- I,
You can
I
say
get
what you want.
you could, yeah. Look, if you want to go, you want to go to the South Side and say the N word.
Yeah.
You can
Let's
do that.
explain that. Not that the N-word has anything to do with anything, but there are a lot of very successful, educated, financially stable black folks on the South Side.
Yeah,
So you go down there acting a goddamn fool doing that,
yeah.
you're gonna catch
Like,
one.
you think, I mean, and not just that, like, if you wanna say a slur on national television, that doesn't protect you from getting fired because you're an asshole and a
Yeah,
racist.
yeah.
I guess you have the right to share something, but that means you should, like, that's not it is not acceptable, and you should be excluded from society for your abhorrent and horrible views. Yes, you have the right to say whatever words you like that don't create immediate violence. But you don't have freedom from the consequences for your horrifying and repulsive beliefs. This is, like the constant sort of probing from the right here of I'm just asking questions and it's just freedom of speech and this is, I'm exercising the Constitution. It's like, no, you're being an antisocial um
Shithead.
piece of shit. Yeah. And so if no and so you don't get to complain that now your family has ostracized you and you lost your job because people don't want to interact with you and they're right. They are rights. They shouldn't have to interact with you, and they don't have to because it's their rights to deny you the the pleasure of their company too. Like if you want to be the worst, most racist piece of garbage, I guess you can do that, but we should have a society that says um, those people don't get to participate with the rest of us. And we don't make a law saying that you don't get put in jail for it. Yes, um, but you can get fired.
Yeah. Or you act a fool in the streets, you're gonna get jumped.
Yeah, right. Look, there's longstanding law here. Like if you like the fighting words
If you
doctrine.
if
Like
you
in law,
yeah,
in law, there's a fighting words doctrine. If you go in and say something
if you
designed
provoke, yeah.
to provoke that, like you can't then complain that somebody's fought you.
Right. Right.
Tough.
Tough. Yeah.
Yeah. So like
Yeah, that
uh,
freedom of consequence. And let me tell you, that freedom of consequence is something that and I'm sorry for turning this into a racial thing, but it's something that I've noticed. Um, you can say freedom of consequence or white privilege, whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it.
mhm,
Black and brown kids are taught whatever you do, there's going to be a consequence.
right.
Whether your mom slaps you across the face for talking crazy, your
Mhm.
dad whips your ass for breaking that thing over there, whatever. We've always had consequences. And I'm not saying that white folks don't have consequences. I'm not. I've seen white kids getting that ass whipped too.
Sure.
But when you get to a certain level, whether it's, and it might be more of a financial thing, um, that might be more accurate assumption. But whatever it is, if it's a financial thing, you get to a certain level where you think that you don't have consequences.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a really good point, and this is I think the thing that's actually underneath the freedom of speech crowd
Mm-hmm.
is it's a white supremacy story,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it's a the people who are insisting that are always white dudes,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to exercise the freedom from consequence
Mm-hmm.
because it is a thing for them to sort of assert like racial and cultural superiority that they can say anything and do anything and there are no consequences. Like that is the foundation of what white supremacy is like a white dude messes up and nothing bad happens, but uh a black or brown kid messes up and they might be facing a mandatory minimum. Now they're in jail for 3 years.
Yeah.
This is like
Yeah.
it's a constant reassertion of the I am like it's a white person trying to say I am free from consequences because I am the most powerful. And that is why I think it's really important to have consequences behind this. Like you do that you do that shit in society, you get fired. You get
Yeah.
excluded. You get if you say something that's here to start a fight, like and someone fights you, yeah, good.
Mm-hmm.
Stop stop trying to start fights.
Mm-hmm.
Like play stupid games, win stupid prizes,
100%.
And so there is this deeper story. I think the reason that we've seen a lot of this um growth of the it's my free speech or I'm just asking questions or the sort of trollish version of this, especially on the white right wing of the country, is it is explicitly a backlash to a multiracial democracy. It is a thing that emerged really aggressively out of us having a black president,
Mm-hmm.
and it is this. small but constant way of trying to, like, reflex white supremacy and say that white people get to live in a world without social consequences because they are up top, and it's
Yep.
unacceptable.
I'm so happy that you said that because I've been telling people Trump Trump is our punishment, our consequences for electing a black president.
Mm,
And I've talked to a ton of white folks, and they're like, "You're being over dramatic and all this stuff." And I'm like, "No, no. Right when we let a black dude in, y'all lost your shits
mhm,
collectively. And man, did you go from one side to the other.
mhm.
You went from everyone was happy that we finally got a black president and all this stuff, and you guys swung the pendulum all the way back to Jim Crow."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that is the reaction, is watching watching the potential of black and brown people to be in charge is, is met with exactly this type of, like, explicitly racialized violence,
Mhm.
you know? And it's a it's a larger story of the small story that we were just talking about, of, like, a bunch of random suburban, like, 23-year-old white dudes who, wanna be able to, like, say racial slurs and just say, "This is my First Amendment." Like, that's the small version. The big version is
Yeah.
a president who rose to power explicitly on a story that, um, immigrants are a threat to America,
Yeah.
and that we are going to assert our dominance over shithole countries, and, like, the totality of his project is a white supremacist project as a reaction. Like, this is the thing, when racists feel threatened, they don't just want to, see themselves back on top, they also wanna kick down.
Mhm. Mhm. And the way I interpret it is they wouldn't mind people like me and a little darker just all the way gone. All the way gone. From how I interpret everything that I've been watching on TV,
Yeah.
they want the United States to be white.
Well, did you see there was this piece of propaganda out of, DHS sometime around, December or January, that was like this horrifying, um, bit of, like, Twitter propaganda that they put out. It was like a beach scene. It's like, "This is what America will be like when we deport 100 million people." I'm like, "You wanna deport how many people?
Yeah,
100 million?
yeah.
That's all of the brown people.
Mhm.
That's all of them."
That's all of them.
Like,
Let me
what.
tell you, hey, let me tell you this. I was in the military.
Mhm.
I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
White folks, get that shit out of your head. Get that bullshit out of your head. I'm not
I
going
mean
anywhere. I'm not going anywhere.
I mean, who do you think the Native Americans are?
Thank you.
Who's going anywhere? And this is the broader story. I said this at the beginning, but America's superpower compared to any other country has always been that we are a country of immigrants,
Mhm.
and that we have a pathway to integrate people and use that superpower. Like, can you imagine how much a person has to believe in the American dream to pick up their whole life, leave where their family grew up, leave where their parents' grew up, their great grandparents grew up, leave their culture, leave the place where everyone speaks their language, where everyone makes the food that they've grown up eating, where they
Mhm.
have a job and the skill
Mhm.
set, and said, "I'm gonna go to America because I believe that that's a system that can work
Mhm.
better for me."
Mhm. Here,
That's
let me give you the perfect example. Because my grandmother, my
yeah,
mom's mom, she's 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 my superhero.
yeah,
That's who I love her. She left the Dominican Republic because of American interference with the government in the Dominican Republic.
Mm-hmm.
She was in her early 20s. She packed up all her shit, moved to New York, and she
Mm-hmm.
fucking went for it.
Yeah.
I got to see her when she was in the Dominican Republic. She was a teacher, and she came here and she worked in a factory for the rest of her fucking life. I would see her come off the bus. She'd walk home. She would make dinner. And then after we ate, we'd watch Walter Cronkite.
Mm-hmm.
I would massage her feet because she was on her feet all fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing the sacrifice and understanding what she did for me, for us, for the family, motivated me to go to school, go to do all the things. I was successful in Silicon Valley,
Mm-hmm.
only to find out that they don't want us here, that they're giving all the jobs to people that don't live here, and then you're sicking ice on us.
Mm-hmm.
And you continue to talk to me about my people and how they come from shithole countries, and that ignorant comedian that said trash heap in the middle of the ocean and all that bullshit, right?
Yeah.
How do you expect us to want to help do any of this shit?
Right. 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 This is, I don't understand how the response too from the Democratic Party hasn't been more angry about this.
Yeah.
You know, so much of this is like the Democrats seem mad about the breaking of the polite rules, but they're like, well, of course, we still need to exclude black and brown people from America. It's like, guys, this has been the engine of what makes America vibrant and exciting forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
You want to talk about American culture without immigrants? You've got nothing. You want to talk about the American economy without immigrants? You've got nothing. Every part of this is a story of people who come from somewhere else in the world and give every bit of their energy to try to make a better life for themselves, for their family, for their kids. And the idea that the response to that from the Republican Party is get them all out, and the response from the Democratic Party is get some of them out. You know, like, are you kidding me?
It's crazy.
It is the single
It's
most
crazy.
important part of the American experiment.
Yeah. Yeah. And let me give you another one to all the dum-dums that say, you just have to keep your hands and do what the police officer says and all that stuff. I have done all the things. I have had my hands at 10 and 2. I still got pulled out of the car. I've made the left-hand turn that still got me pulled over.
That's right.
You know, I go into grocery stores depending, I like to travel. And
Yeah.
I've traveled around the United States, all over the place. And I've walked into small little stores and I've had the little person from behind the counter following me around the store. I've had all those things. So when they say, just do what the cop tells you, no, that's not it.
Yeah.
That's not it.
Yeah, and I mean, some of this is a law problem too. Like, you can't sue a cop when they violate your constitutional rights. There's basically no constitutional right of action anymore. The Supreme Court got rid of it. So, I mean, what do you think is going to happen if you give somebody a gun and absolute immunity for anything they do?
And then you cherry pick the ones that you know are going to be bullies.
Right. Right. Yeah, and then you use your
And then
platform.
I'm a bad guy because I'm protecting myself and my family.
Right. This is a larger story, and we talked about this at some length. Like, America is probably forever going to be wrestling with this foundational sin of racism.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, have we made it hard to do that with our laws. Like, our laws are racist,
Mm-hmm.
and we keep choosing to empower the racist parts of our
Yeah.
economy or of our country. So, like, look, we got a lot of work ahead of us too. You know, it's like it's like coming back from war with PTSD and you live next to a fireworks factory. Like,
For real.
you can make choices here. Why don't we make sure that the laws aren't empowering violent racists in the country?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we make sure that we are investing in communities that are historically redlined and disinvested in? Because there's a whole lot of work historically, socially, culturally to address the what you're saying, like the people who follow you around in the store.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to do a law against that, but we sure as hell can do a law
And
stopping.
that part I don't even care. You're
Well,
gonna
yeah,
have dum
but
dums no
that's what I
matter
mean.
what.
Like
But yeah.
that's the long term work of the American project is like trying to make sure that people are not enacting that racism socially.
Mm-hmm.
But look, I mean, you get emboldened by that when your laws are racist.
Right. Here's an example of how the laws are still racist or how people are racist.
Yeah,
Um, and it's not even and it's something that we take for granted now.
yeah,
So Bad Bunny did his thing. He had the Puerto Rican flag up, and everybody was talking about "Woo, woo, American flag, Puerto Rican flag is dumb," and all this stuff,
yeah,
right? All that dumb stuff. Meanwhile, I was driving around Florida, and I saw one of the biggest Confederate flags flying.
right. Which I mean, the Puerto Rican
No
flag.
American flag on top of it,
Yeah,
no American flag and then Confederate flag. No,
yes,
it was a big ass Confederate
it's the
flag. They were
Confederate battle
making a
flag.
point.
Yes, the Confederate battle flag, which again, for the people in the back, is the flag flown to violently overthrow the United States government.
Thank you for pointing that out again.
Uh, I'm so tired of like, this is our history. It's like, yeah, your history of violently trying to overthrow the US government so you can do slavery.
Yeah. You could have stopped that. You could have stopped that. Um. Trying to overthrow the
Right,
United States government. You could have
right.
stopped there. The racism shit just proves that you're an
Sure.
asshole.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is literally the same. It's actually literally the same thing as like flying the Al Qaeda flag.
Yeah.
The people who tried to use terrorist tactics to overthrow the United States government, try to
Yeah.
bomb the Pentagon and the White House and the Twin Towers all at the same time.
Yeah.
That's what the Confederacy was.
Yeah. And think about it. A lot of the people that share the same views that that flag represents, those are the ones that are shooting up schools and churches.
Yep. Yep.
But yet we're going to talk about Bad Bunny and his people dressed in grass.
Yeah, I just like I find it so it's so like intellectually
Stunted.
inconsistent, like it's so
Yeah.
lazy.
Yeah.
Um
It's so lazy.
and it's such an intentional misremembering of all of the things that we have um lived through as a country. Like if you're a
Yeah.
states' rights guy, cool. Let's talk about states' rights. But if you're flying the Confederate flag, there's a reason you're flying that flag,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not about states' rights.
It is not. You can fight for states' rights,
Sure.
and there's a lot of things that I will agree with you on.
Yeah. Look, I
That's
mean,
not one. That
I'm
flag
out
is
here.
not one.
I think we're seeing the example of this all the time right now. The people who are the people who historically have been the states' rights or the Second Amendment crowd, the people who say we need states' rights to stand up against a tyrannical government, we need the Second Amendment to stand up against a tyrannical government, and now you've got ICE rolling through, taking over cities and
Yeah.
states
And they're like,
violently.
don't touch my tyrannical government.
Right. Like, if you're not there on the front lines stopping the violent tyrannical government trying to take over the state's rights that you've been trying to protect against, then it's about something else. I mean, we already know what it's about. It's not been a secret, but I just don't like. I don't think you can live in the current version of history and still tell yourself that you're a states' rights advocate or that you have a gun to stand up against tyrannical government, and then you watch what happens as people are murdered in the street for protesting
Mm-hmm.
by a tyrannical government rolling through to kidnap people who are legally here
Mm-hmm.
and tell me that you are a states' rights or a constitution advocate.
And even if you don't want to admit to the fact that people were here legally,
Mm.
let's just label them to prove
Sure.
this point. They're illegal. From what I understand, that's about the same as getting a speeding ticket.
Yeah. It is
I
a
mean,
civil law violation.
and now that I think about it, even if you are a brown or black American, if you get a speeding ticket, you might get shot.
Yeah.
So they just might be more consistent than I think.
Oh man, that is darker than I thought it was going to be.
Let's lighten it up then.
Yeah.
How are
Yeah.
we going to keep the Bears in Chicago?
Yes. Yeah, hey, look, I mean this has been a fight for a while. Um I'm really like you've hit on a thing that I've been wrestling with for a long time. Um I'm really tired of this story from a bunch of like multi-billion dollar companies
Yeah.
telling cities that they have to give them millions and millions of dollars or else they'll pick up their ball and leave.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not just a Bears story, it's not just a sports story, but, like,
Yeah.
you saw the whole thing about Amazon HQ as cities across the country were, like, bending over backwards saying, "You won't pay taxes for
Yeah.
100 years, and we'll build you a whole new campus, and, um,
Yeah.
you can have exemptions from all of our, like, water laws, and
Taco
we'll do
Tuesdays
anything."
every Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, like, this race to the bottom. Um, I'm I'm really tired of all of these big companies telling big cities like, "Well, we're not gonna come to you unless you give us all, like,
Yeah.
free taxes for 100 years."
Yeah.
At that point, like, is it worth it to have the business there? Like, isn't the whole point of having a big business, like, yeah, it creates a bunch of jobs, but, like, those jobs also are supposed to create some tax revenue.
Yeah.
I'd rather have businesses that are, like, gonna come in and, I don't know, generate real economic value for the state, for the city. And I at a certain point, I kinda want people to call their bluff,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Because let
Amazon
me tell
runs around.
you, let me go ahead and float this to the McCaskies. The worst decision you can make is moving the Bears out of Chicago.
Right,
You will go bankrupt.
right.
We will root for not Green Bay. Everyone
Yeah,
else
not Green Bay, but
except
everyone
Green
else.
Bay. Everyone else except Green Bay, just to prove our point.
Yes. Well, this is the thing, like, all of these big companies and these big sports companies are no different, keep pretending like they've got all the leverage. The reason why the Bears are in Chicago is because there's a bunch
We
of
love
people who
Bears.
will go to those games and spend
Yeah.
money at those games.
Yeah.
You think you're gonna fill a stadium in Indiana? Get out of here.
We don't travel like that.
Right. Right. Right.
Except I was gonna say we do travel heavy, but you gotta be under the you
Also, if you're
gotta be
Chicago, it's
under.
not like you're going to Indiana.
Yeah, we ain't going out there.
I'll go to every other state before I go to Indiana.
Yeah, listen. Chicagoans are so proud about being Chicago. We say we're from Chicago.
That's right.
I don't know how many Chicagoans know that we're actually from Illinois.
Yeah. Right. It's real. I mean, there's a reason why, like, there's a perennial rivalry between, like, the southern part of Illinois and Chicago. It's why,
Yeah,
I mean, it's why there's a bunch of, like, Southern Illinoisans who are Cardinals fans, even though you got two Illinois teams that you can
yeah,
root for.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, like, this is what I mean. Call these companies bluffs. Like Amazon and Google tell everybody, if you don't give us a tax-free extension on any of our obligations for 50 years, we're going to leave. It's like, no, you're not.
You're
You're
not.
in California because that's where the talent is.
Mm-hmm.
You're in Chicago because that's where the fans are. Like
Mm-hmm.
these are cities that are full of people that make your business model viable.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's high time that we, like, as not just as a like a regular people solidarity that I was saying earlier. Like, there's like the class solidarity of the 99% versus the 1%, but I also want to see some of these states and municipalities get some solidarity and say, let's stop giving away a bunch of free handouts to the largest companies in the world
Mm-hmm.
to try to beg them to come to our cities. Like, our cities are good cities.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason they're coming here.
Mm-hmm.
Stay strong in that.
Yeah. Or how about this? Because now that we know that, these large corporations like to kick in for things like ballrooms and stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
we leverage that. We say,
Sure.
oh, looks like you want to invest in a school. We got this
Mhm.
Roosevelt school that needs a librarian and new books.
Yeah.
And then you get pressured into that.
Right.
Nah, bitch, you have to kick into the community. The community is not going to float you.
That's what I'm saying. We've got this whole thing all opposite. There's a whole bunch of these AI data centers that keep popping up around Chicago. And
Yeah.
in Illinois, we had a report out from the governor's office. There's something like, we are projected to run out of electricity in Illinois
Jesus.
by 2032, which is like 6 years from now.
Yeah.
And the single greatest driver of that is the growth of these data centers. These data centers come in, and we don't tell them they have to build new power generation. We don't tell them they have to build new
roads,
water systems or roads to service it. They come in, and then all of us watch, like, this last summer, people's electricity bills were up by like 80% year over year.
Jesus.
You're trying to use your AC, it costs 80% more because of these data centers coming in. And look, these data centers, you've seen it. You were successful in Silicon Valley. Like, they're backed by some of the most venture money anyone's ever seen. They're rolling in tens of billions of dollars,
And not
hundreds of
just money from American businessmen.
Right.
Worldwide businessmen.
Right.
So it's a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah, these are multinational corporations with, like, staggering the amount of money that is, like, akin to the GDP of many smaller countries per year. And we just say, okay, you can have all of our municipal infrastructure and you don't have to pay back into it. Like, not only should they have to cover the cost of that power generation, they should be building new green energy. They should be building new systems for water use, and they should be building roads and schools. Like, if you want to come in and use all of this land for a thing that, look, these data centers are like, I don't know, I still haven't seen AI do anything besides, like, take people's jobs and make sonnets about, like, in the voice of a pirate, or help a 7th grader cheat on their homework. Like, we haven't cured cancer with AI yet, so until then, like, what's our payoff? It's just a bunch more expensive water, a bunch more expensive electricity, and fine, if you wanna build stuff that's not helping anybody, then pay back into the community.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want people to understand where you're trying to go, you need to let people be a part of that process.
Exactly.
It's
And
not that
give people a
difficult.
reason. Give people a reason to be excited. Like,
Yeah.
if they were doing things like building public libraries and stuff, people would be excited about a data center.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%. You mean we're going to have a library and then this data center is going to actually make my access to that information easier?
Great.
Cool.
Sign me up.
Can we get a school real quick?
Yeah, that's like, we got a data center coming in, and we're gonna build a bunch more solar power generation too, and it's gonna update a road. Like, now you've got an alliance of people who are excited about it, and also you've done a net positive. I'm really tired of, like, this long time assumption that the only way to get any sort of investment, any sort of economic activity in your town is to just give up everything you have and hope that the scraps fall from the table from multinational corporations. There has to be a better way, a more cooperative way to do that.
Yeah. And Caleb Williams isn't enough.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, yeah. Caleb Williams.
I mean, I love him.
He's a lot.
He's my quarterback.
He's a lot, but he's not
He's not enough he's not enough. If you move that team to fucking Rockford, I don't care.
That's right. Yeah, and there's going to be a 2-generation drought just of spite because Chicagoans have some real civic pride there.
Yeah. I was getting nervous when they were talking about moving them to Arlington Heights. I was sweating. Yeah. I was looking at everybody in Chicago. I was like, how do you feel about this?
Yeah. Not
Arlington
good.
Heights is great. I live in Sonoma, and so the current my side piece is the 49ers.
Yeah. I'll forgive you for it.
No. Bears are number 1. No questions. No.
Yeah.
For me to maintain house civility.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. They play in Santa Clara. That's an hour away from San Francisco. So again, not that Arlington Heights isn't, well, with traffic, it might be an hour, but
with traffic, yeah.
If you move the Bears out there, I was like, what?
Yeah.
But, I was like, all right, cool. They're building a whole community. So I was kind of convincing myself it's kind of like Wrigley Field with the neighborhood around it.
Right. Sure. Yeah. They made all of Wrigleyville,
Yeah. I was like, all right, cool. Well, the Bears kind of want that neighborhood vibe too, be a whole experience thing. So I was like, all right, cool, Arlington. And then when they said Northwest Indiana, I was like, I dare you.
Yeah.
I dare you.
Try it. Yeah. We'll find out.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything else that we need to talk about? I know you have a hard out coming up pretty quick.
Yeah. Last things are just the real basics here. We've got an election in this district. It is the primary election on March 17th. Early voting starts before that, starts March 2nd. And there's a lot of people on this ballot, but I think we really need people here who are going to be champions for these types of values. And also, I'll make the plug here, have some experience for it. I said this in passing, but I spent the last several years of my life in federal public service. I worked in Congress as an attorney. I worked at the DOJ. Whoever takes this seat is going to have to stand up against the Trump administration and has to know how to do it on day one. Like, there's no time to learn how these levers work. And we gotta hold this administration accountable, and that takes some knowledge. So if you're watching this, especially if you made it this far, love to earn your support. And I think we've got a chance here to send a real grassroots progressive, and the rare chance where you've got somebody who's a champion for the values, who's also the most experienced to do exactly this job. And that's a rare thing. So if you want to check us out, go to Read for Congress, read the number 4congress.com and
REED
4congress.com, the number 4, and you can volunteer, you can donate, you can send stuff to your friends, you can check out our socials. We're on all that, and it really does help.
And we'll have links to all your socials in the description of this video.
Amazing. And the last of it is a huge thanks to you, Carlos, and to the audience here for sitting through and for making space for something like this. It really, it's meaningful. And I really appreciate what you do.
I love what you guys are trying to do. And I know for a fact that there are some things that you guys would rather not say. I would love to say those things.
Yeah. And I appreciate you for it.
Yeah. Thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you for taking time from your busy schedule to come and hang out and explain your platform. I'm a fan.
All right. I love it, man. Always good to talk to a fellow Chicagoan.
Yes, sir. And with that, everybody, we're out.